best service possible with a 1-hour response time for any trouble calls you may have. We also perform all Category 1 and 5 tests that are required in New York and clear any existing violations so your elevators are safe and up to code. Call 212-279-0700. 212-279-0700.
Come on out to the Bungalow Bar, located at 377 Beach 92nd Street in Rockaway Beach, New York. Located right on the corner of Beach 92nd Street and Beach Channel Drive. Come and enjoy our choice of dine-in service with beautiful views of Jamaica Bay and a breathtaking sunset view. Or enjoy our takeout service and no-contact delivery as well. Either way you decide to dine, you will be satisfied with our famous American-style cuisine, great drinks, and great service. Brought to you by IGC Hospitality, the staff at Bungalow Bar hope to see you real soon. Now, enjoy your scheduled program, Buck the System with Buck and Fox.
When the cameras aren't rolling and the spotlight is off, what are your favorite celebs really like? This is Buck the System, the podcast that peeks behind the curtain, under the covers, and brings you along as host Buck Gritano exposes real reality. We started with the captains of the smash hit TV show Wicked Tuna. How cool is that? And every time we buck the system, we have an awesome time doing it. So now, let's have some fun. You ready? Buckle up and let's go.
Welcome everybody, Buck the System, Buck Rotano, Brian Fox.
Yep.
Back again with a special guest, show 56. On it, right? Back again, Rockaway Beach, representing Bobby J from Rockaway. Gotta play a little Bobby J to start the show before I see our ugly faces.
We gotta get him back in here.
Special guest, former LA Lakers center,
Clippers.
Clippers, what I say?
Lakers.
He wishes the Lakers, I guess, right? Oh, okay. Okay, here we go. Keith Gloss, man. Wow. Gloss the boss is in the house.
And the booze all over the crowd.
I call my kids. Yeah, let's go over here. First of all, I call my kids the different names, and so I've done that before. You know, let's bring on former Laker. Yeah, let me say Laker. I can't get it out of my head. I don't know why. Former Clipper. Because you know what it is? It's like playing for the Jets, or where they share a building with the Giants and stuff like that. But let's bring him on. He's going to be on the phone because we had a little trouble with the video. So we got him on the phone. Keith is in the house. He's not actually in L.A. no more. He bounced out of L.A. and now he's in Texas. I mean, he must have followed the Joe Rogan route or something. Everybody's moving to Texas. What is up with Texas, man? Do you know what's going on, Keith? How you doing, man?
Oh, man, another day in paradise, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure, man. Our pleasure.
Thanks for being here, man. This is great.
Now, you have a funny combination. You have a funny path that we found you because Pete, right, is your cousin, which is from Rockaway, plays softball, Jamaica Bay, with Fox and my brother and all the guys. And he had a cousin played in the NBA, man. And I was like, I get him on.
Pete Torres, yeah. Yeah, we might have to put a phone number up and have him call in.
That's funny.
And just hear these two talk.
That's absolutely amazing.
We don't need to hear his voice. He's probably eating right now.
Yeah.
You know, those little fat guys do it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny. Let's not get on the fat guys. If you could see me now, you'd be like, the fat jokes, and you can't bring the fat jokes up right now.
I thought he was going to hang up.
Oh, man. You build like Pete.
I don't know how Pete's built these days, but I tell you, that quarantine has killed me, man.
You got the Rockaway dad bods.
Yeah, that's it. Sexy bodies, man. I go swimming in the ocean with my T-shirt still, man. And I don't realize it looks even worse because it's so stuck to my stomach. You could act, what am I hiding? I don't know. So it is what it is. Man. It is what it is, man. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate that, man. NBA, we talk about the NBA. You were in the NBA for a couple of years. Ups and downs, I would say, in the NBA.
Very memorable person. if you watch the NBA during that time, you remember him. 7'3", you can't forget him. You know, he stood out in the crowd.
Yeah, 7'3". That definitely stands out in the crowd, man. 7'3". What? When did you start growing? What age did you start growing at, man?
I was always, head and shoulders above everybody else. Sixth grade, I was 5'10". And then when I started my freshman year of high school, I was 6'4". Then that summer, going into my sophomore year, I grew to 6'8". Then 6'11" as a junior, graduated high school at 7'2", and maxed out my freshman year in college at 7'3".
Wow, 7'2" coming out of high school.
What size sneaker, man? I gotta hear the sneaker size.
Size 18.
Jesus.
Where do you find size 18s, man? When your mom, they were shopping for sneakers for you, where'd you find your sneakers at?
Oh man, luckily playing AAU, I played for a few sponsor teams. Reebok, Nike, LA Gear. You remember LA Gear back in the day?
That was the real manly sneaker, right? The LA Gear ones?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So luckily I got a lot of my Adidas. I got a lot of my shoes for free due to team sponsorships.
Should I probably saved you a lot of money.
Every once in a while, Mom, she had to get out there and really search for them.
Wow.
Can't find that in the Finger Hut book, man, as a
Buster
kid.
Browns, you can't go to Buster Brown for those.
Hey, my mom used to shop at a Finger Hut, man. I remember one time my mom got me the Reebok pumps when they first came out. They were like $129. They were 92, 91, 90, whatever. She got it at the Finger Hut book, right? And if everybody up there remembers Finger Hut or Sears or catalogs, that's like, with the dinosaurs. But my mom got it and she had to pay it off. And she looked at me one time 6 months later and was like, Buck, she didn't call me Buck, I'm Billy. What happened to them pump sneakers? I said, Mom, they're dogged. I need a new pair. She's like, I didn't even pay them off yet. Like she paid like $300 for them sneakers through Finger Hut with the extra interest, Oh man.
Hey, that's all right. I had to wear Pro Wings as a kid. You know what I'm saying? So going to Payless shoe stores, yeah, that was real embarrassing. You go to school and everybody's got on Nike Cortez or the Adidas Shell Toes, and here I come with my Pro Wings, my XJ900s, and oh man!
Did you have the lotto?
It was terrible.
Did you have the lottos with the interchangeable symbol?
No, I did have one pair of lottos, man. I had one pair of lottos. I was actually in a group home at the time.
That's funny because you talk about lottos. We had a kid that we grew up with, Matt. Now he's on the West Coast. We used to sing songs. Remember, we used to diss your friends with songs and stuff like that. One of them was like lottos. He wore lottos, and I had no clue what lottos were. I guess it was like a European type sneaker. But
Buster Brown sold them. They were like the first
didn't
store to
go to
sell them.
Buster.
Yeah,
I didn't
Buster
go.
Brown had them.
Buster Brown. Was
I had a pair of them, man, and they came with Velcro. Like the symbol, like the logo on the side, there was like a square.
So you could change the color.
You could change them. Yeah. That was classic.
That with the Cavaricis, you were set, man. You were going out, whining and dining with that stuff. Now, what age, Keith, did you know you could play basketball? I mean, I know you were tall your whole life. Were you pushed into basketball, or was something that you liked as a kid?
No, I love basketball. Football was one of my first loves because my mom's brothers played football. So. At Grandma's house, there are all these football helmets and football gear all around. But, in the projects with my dad, I'm playing crate ball with all the kids, all the rest of the kids. We had guys like Marcus Camby, who had a long, storied NBA career, Defensive Player of the Year. He was on that Knicks team that went to the finals.
Yeah, and they brought him. They brought him back too. I remember years later bringing him back.
Yeah. Marcus and I are childhood friends.
Oh,
he lived downstairs from me in the projects, and
wow.
when we couldn't get on the court with the grown-ups, man, we always had crate ball, and that's where we developed our shooting touch. And anybody that knows a crate ball, if you can't shoot, don't even try it. You know what I mean? So it really helped a lot of guys develop into some pretty decent shooters. But basketball, man, that was my main love. My parents put a hoop inside my bedroom that I could attach to the door. It hook over the door.
Oh, those are the
so
best.
I could close the door and just shoot.
So
Yeah.
Keith, you were lucky. You probably slamming dunking at the age of 4 in that thing from from a door, man. You know, I was able to dunk off a door at least, man.
Before the basketball hoops got big, right? What did we all do
Oh,
if we
man.
wanted a basketball court?
What's this? What I
We
did?
dunked on the crate.
With the crate? There you
No,
go,
this
Bronx
is what
style,
I did.
kid.
That's Bronx and California
yeah,
style.
there
What
you
I
go.
did was I took an old hanger. I would make it in a hoop, the hanger itself, like the old style dry cleaning hangers. Now you can't find no hangers like that attached. It was all metal. We'd make it into a circle,
Right.
put it behind the door. Get a T-shirt they didn't have no more. We were creative little motherfuckers, yo. We would put T-shirt over and cut it to make a net, and we would play with a ball. We would tape up a ball and we would play. And I would always
Yeah,
win.
let me go ahead and cut a T-shirt. My mother would break my neck.
That's true. But you know what? She didn't care. My mom was pretty cool like that. As long as we were in the room and we weren't killing each other, she let us do some crazy stuff. Being a single mom, she let us get away with a lot more than probably, we knew when time was up, man. We knew when time was up when Miss Cortano yelled out the building in Rockaway Beach, Billy, Patrick, in the middle of a game, we had to jet out and leave. There was no saying, 1 minute, you kids now. Oh, Dad, I'll be off. I'm on this board. How long? How much longer you got on the board? It doesn't end. It's never ending.
Yeah.
So we
Right,
came.
right.
We respected, man. You know what I mean? So growing up, basketball for you was a second nature, or it came something that you had to prepare for?
It came second nature, but I also had to prepare. And that meant a lot of hours just by myself at the playground, and then when I couldn't go to the playground, just dribbling up and down the sidewalks. And just using my imagination a lot. I always imagined that I was playing against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar one-on-one. He was my favorite player all time, and that's what we had to do. That's what I had to do. And I work on different moves, and when I finally get a chance to get to the playground, I try those same moves out on the guys that I was playing against. And that let me know the things that I need to work on and improve at. I'm a natural lefty, and so I had to learn how to dribble with my right hand, because I kept getting trapped in the corner all the time, and I hated that. And so by the time I was 12, I knew how to dribble with my right hand almost as well as with my left. And I try to stress that to kids today about the importance of being able to dribble with either hand with no problem.
You're not telling me, Keith. I coach a basketball team.
Some people still today,
Sure.
some people and some adults still today, when they play, they're just dribbling with their dominant hand.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so easy to play against those type of people because you just force them to their weak hand, and one or two dribbles later, it's off their foot, off their knee, or they're trying to force it back to their dominant hand, and you're just taking it away from them, every time. So I loved it. And that's just something I learned from my own struggles of learning to play the game at a young age, And as a basketball coach, I stress that and I share that with my players just to help make things a little easier for them.
And do the kids listen to you? Because my kids, they look at me like I have 25 heads, man. At least you're a former NBA player where you get their attention being so big and respect when you can get on the court and play. But the kids today, it's totally a different generation than we were kids, man. My kids, they used to, since the shutdown of COVID, before that, we were actually starting to roll. We had a 6th grade team. The kids are improving. But the thing was, they only practiced at the court, I felt like. It was only a practice. These kids didn't do the extra stuff like you did, Keith. Like, you knew you had to work on your right hand. They would work on it. Maybe 1 or 2. Maybe you get out. But this generation now, they don't go outside, man. I mean, at least where I'm.
No, they don't. There's too many gymnasiums. I'll be coaching a 15 and under girls team, and our first practice is tomorrow night. But over the weekend, I met with a few of the girls and parents, and when I explained to them, we just had that big blizzard, and my niece is playing on the team, and so I looked outside one day, and there's about 8 inches of snow and ice out there. I said to her, "Why aren't you out there working on your game?" And she looked past me out the window and she said, "Don't you see all that snow on the ground?" I said, "Okay," and I had to explain to her, You know, when I was younger and playing outside, guess what? If I wanted to play some basketball and it was snowing, okay, I got my gloves on. I'm layered up and nice and warm. And I'm out there, you know, shooting hoops with my friends. When I got to college, the same thing. The same thing. And even going into the pros, my training, I went back to Connecticut to train, and I'm out there in the wintertime. And, you know, Connecticut winters, New England winters can be brutal. And I went ahead and I had to train outside in the middle of a damn blizzard. I had to run 5 miles every day. I had to get out there on that basketball court every day and work on my game while it was snowing, dealing with frostbite, all of that. But I was willing to make that sacrifice for the ultimate goal, which was to become a professional basketball player. It's so much easier for these kids today because there are all these gyms popping up everywhere. 24-hour fitness has a gym everywhere. Remember, we just had the Boys and Girls Club, you know, and if they had a gym. But most of the time, we were outdoors at playgrounds, you know, and at parks playing basketball on the asphalt.
A lot of kids are shooting foul. A lot of kids are shooting foul shots on their tablets now.
Yeah, it's not the same, man. It's
and
not
these
the
kids,
same.
they're not forced to deal with the elements like we were. So they have it very, very easy, a whole lot easier than we did.
I was told to go outside, man. My mom would be like, go outside. And she's like, or even when you're punished, I would stay in for 15, 20 minutes. She would like, get out of the house. Just go outside. Just go outside.
Right.
And then,
and for us, we had to beat the lights. You know, the lights, by the time the lights come on, we better be walking in that door if we weren't already inside.
That's right.
So now you growing up, you grew up on the West Coast as a young guy. High school on the West Coast too?
Yeah, elementary, high school. Uh-huh. And,
so how'd you wind up going to Central Connecticut?
They were recruiting me just as well as UConn and the other schools were.
Oh, okay.
I see, one of my problems that I created for myself was my junior year in high school. The head coach, me and my buddy walked into the gym and he said that he had enough talent on his team and he didn't need us. I'm 6'11", my buddy's 6'4", and we're two of the better players in the school. I was the best player in the school, period, hands down. But my buddy was pretty damn good as well. And, you know, we walk in and the coach turns us away at the door. And, you know, so I, as far as school was concerned that year, I was like, screw it. You know, if I can't play, why do I need to worry about maintaining a certain GPA?
Why did he turn you away? Why did the coach turn you away? What reason? Like,
I have no idea. Even still to this day, I have no idea.
Damn, I'll tell you something, Keith, man. My kids come to the gym every year, right? And I'm hoping they grow in a couple inches, man. I was seeing one of my kids come in, you know, 6 foot something, even 6'4". I'll take. I got 4'3" kids, man. I'm like, yo, you start stretching these kids out, man, stepping on them or something, man.
Right. But this guy, you know, he turned me away. He turned us away, and they went 0-24 that year. They lost every game, and you know, a couple returning varsity players, they quit because they didn't want to play for him either, and. You know, we went to a lot of the games heckling this dude. You know, yeah, this is our school, but we were heckling him. We were drawing pictures of him in a defensive slide with his whistle in his mouth and a clipboard in his hand, you know, and just heckling the hell out of him, chanting. And, you know, it was amazing. It was so much fun. We would leave hoarse after the game, but we made his year hell for him. But I also made it hell for myself, like I said, because I didn't have the same focus academically since I wasn't playing. You know, I was lucky because my AAU coaches, they weren't really on us. They weren't checking our academics, you know. So I'm sure if they had been, they wouldn't have allowed me to play, which meant that I wouldn't have been able to get the recognition of help, you know, necessary for me to get a college scholarship. But that's where my recognition came from, playing in AAU and, you know, going up against the best competition in the city, in the state, in the country. You know, we were playing against Riverside Church, who had Kareem Reed, Donald Foyle, and others. You
Nice.
know, that was such a great program representing the East Coast, man.
And that's
And,
way
you know, we
before.
got a
That's
chance.
way before the YouTube videos and all that stuff. Now
Yeah.
you go on the AAU. It's I know the kids that are coming
It's
out
a
of.
shit show.
Yeah, but at least I got the idea. I know the kids, the European kids now. I'm able to see them coming into the draft, you know, and see how they play and stuff like that. So it opened it up that way for scouting, but recognition, you guys, I guess it was all word of mouth back then, right? If you had the
Exactly. It was word of mouth and newspaper clippings, you know, and what was that high school magazine? Was it Hi-Fi? I can't remember.
Yeah, we were just
can't remember
talking
the name.
about
It's
that.
been
That's
so
funny
long.
because I saw something with Len Bias with Michael Jordan. Like they were kids going to high school, and they met at that 5-star tournament thing, whatever
Right.
it was, the camp.
The 5-star camp.
Yes, yes, and they said that I mean, he would never admit it to it, because we saw you score over the great one, Michael. I can't stand Michael. I'm a Knicks fan. You know, Jordan, best
Love
probably
Mike.
basketball player ever, but I just can't stand the guy, man. Now I don't really care because you know he's not the greatest owner, but he's still whatever. But watching him play against Len Bias was when looking at Len Bias, I'm saying, what a tragic, what such tragedy. And people forget how good Bias was, man. He was the only one that ever on Maryland that ever gave Jordan they didn't match up actually because they played two different positions, but somebody else shined almost as bright as Michael did in a college game, and it was Len.
Right.
And they talked about the 5-star, so that's when he brought it up because there was like 10,000 college kids went from that tournament, right? They went on to play the Division I college. 500, 600 kids went to the NBA from that, so that's crazy.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
You know, social media has really made a big difference for a lot of these guys, and you know, it's even affected the way that some of them train, and you know, they're basically doing it for the gram, you know, and doing it for followers and doing it for likes rather than doing it for the love. You get a select few who are actually doing it for the love, but for the most part, it's just about, you know, getting those followers up.
That's funny, man. It's a different world we live in, man. This is just 20 years. Can you imagine what it'd be like in 60 years, 70 years? Like, what stuff's going to be like? I don't even think we're going to be playing. There'll be like AIs set up on the court playing, and some kids on a computer running it like that one fighting real steel, like a boxing. I think it's going to come down to that kind of stuff.
They already have a 3-point shooting robot. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So I don't know if you've seen a video on that.
I seen one that kicked field goals. It had a field goal kicker. It was amazing. This guy set it up. He was like a NASA whatever engineer, and he made a field goal kicker. He was just kicking 90-yard field goals. But I just hate. I'm not looking forward to that.
We're getting too close, man.
By that time, we'll be gone.
Right.
We'll be gone in the grave over time.
Close.
Now you get to college, and you're at the level. You AAU. You set you up, and you go to Connecticut. Right? What made you decide Connecticut?
They stuck with me. You know, the other schools, Utah with Coach Majerus, Rick Majerus, God rest his soul, another great coach. You know, he wanted to sign me, but he wanted me to red shirt to gain weight. They were just they thought that I was too slim because I was about 170 pounds soaking wet. You know, and Long Beach State, Seth Greenberg, another great college coach. They wanted to redshirt me, but like going back to what I said about, academics, I had slipped up so much that they didn't think that I was going to graduate. So my senior year, I had to make up my junior year at the same time, and I'm going to school from 7:30 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, Monday through Saturday, making up the credits from my junior year. And Central Connecticut stuck with me. They stuck with me through it. I didn't want a red shirt. I was convinced that no matter how slim I was, I had what it took to compete at any level. And I just needed somebody to give me a chance. And they, they were the most supportive out of everybody. And so before I graduated, of course, I still have some credits to make up. But my mind is set. I go to a recruiting trip at Oregon State. I get sick because of the rainy weather. and they accidentally OD'd me on cough medicine and all this stuff. That it was just a mess. But,
accidentally,
yeah,
or I mean, come on, accidentally.
accidentally.
Oh, I thought you were doing
Accidentally, because
scissor.
I was in
I thought you were doing some scissor.
Yeah, I was in such a bad way, man, that I was that the amount of medication that they gave me actually had me intoxicated. And so I couldn't even really enjoy the trip. I don't remember too much about the trip. I remember going into the basketball arena and being impressed by that. I remember going on a tour to a few of the dorms, but other than that, I just remember being sick and feeling like crap. Long Beach State, they were local, so it was nothing to go down there and take my recruiting trip there unofficially, since I was a local kid. And then Central Connecticut, being a Hartford, Connecticut native, it gave me an opportunity to go see some family and friends that I hadn't seen in a few years.
I thought it was Kaiser. I thought it was Kaiser. That's the reason why you signed there.
I fell in love with my teammates, man, my future teammates, and they were just a rough and tumble group who loved to have fun, loved life, and they loved the game of basketball. And one of them actually lived right around the corner from my grandmother on the next block. So he and I grew very close. He actually convinced me that was a school I wanted to go to, because we went to a party, and Marcus Camby was at UMass at the time. He's at that party, and that was the first time I had seen him since we were 14. I'm 17 at the time, and or did I turn 18 yet? 17, 18, around there. But I see Marcus for the first time, and we're chopping it up, and one of my future teammates gets into an argument with the guy, and the guy gets real disrespectful, and my teammate clocks him. And on his way down, another future teammate catches him as well, and they just spike his ass into the ground. And that had me sold right there. These are the guys that I need to play with, because I know they're going to have my back out here. Not only do they have the same love for the sport as I do, but when times get rough, they're going to have my back.
Brother, there's that brotherhood, like that. You felt it.
Brotherhood, yeah. Exactly.
Was that something? Was that something you were reaching for at that age? Was that something that you needed? That you said it defined the moment, but that was.
That's always important in sports. People like Earl Watson, my man, was being interviewed by my other buddy Chris Johnson, UCLA teammates. And Earl, he played in the league for about a decade, and then he coached in the league as well as an assistant, and then as a head coach for the Suns. And he was talking about how the veterans didn't really look out for the younger players, how they weren't really trying to teach them and help them become better players. I felt like those teammates were going to teach me how to become a tougher player and a better player as well. And I found that out in a scrimmage with them during that trip, and we just talked about little things about the game, the little nuances, and, I knew it. This is where I belong. Not only that, I got my grandparents here. My father was in prison at the time. They set up a visit for me to go see him, and I informed the coach that I planned on signing my letter of intent at that prison. And, and that's exactly what happened. During that prison trip to see my father, I signed my national letter of intent and made sure that he got his signature on there as well.
That's nice,
I wanted to include him in that process.
He must have been proud of you that day, man. That must have been a proud day, man.
Absolutely. And it caught him off guard. Made his big soft ass cry. But and I was just, it was a proud moment for me as well to be able to share that experience with my father. And again, having the support of my college coach and his coaching staff, Mark Adams, Ted Woodward, Doug Leichner, Mark Borgeson. Those guys, they stuck with me, and they were always very, very supportive. And my college coaches, they didn't care about our development as players as much as they cared about our development as men. The basketball would take care of itself as long as we put in the work for it. But they also wanted us to work on ourselves as young men, being the best young men that we could be. And that's one of the lessons that I carry today when I'm coaching, these young men, these young ladies, and just developing them into the best possible young people that they can be. My players over in China, they still send me video clips of their games and, things that they've been working on. And, I love it. And it just shows the impact. It shows that I am making an impact with what I'm doing with these kids, because I've been back from China almost 3 years now, and still they're sending me footage, and I love it. I get to share it on social media, and it's just an amazing thing. I'm in it for the growth and development of my players. Any player that I come in contact with, I don't want to see kids go down the same path that myself and so many others have gone, because at the age of 12, I joined a street gang in L.A., and I did some of the things that gang members have to do, and I was fortunate enough that I was really good at basketball, so that was another distraction, for me, so I couldn't give my all to the streets like the rest of my peers were. Basketball saved my life, and I'm using basketball to try to save the lives of a lot of our youth out here, as many as I can.
That's so awesome, man. On the phone with Keith Gloss, the boss Gloss, former L.A. Clipper, not Laker. I don't know why I haven't got that. Because I forgot there was another team out there, to be honest with you, joining us on the phone. I got somebody, one of our good listeners. I got Larry. He listens to all the shows. He said he posted on here that your voice is radio gold voice, man. It's real gold. So I think that you have to maybe take on, come back to maybe, I don't know, California and get on.
Larry's flirting with me.
No, I don't know. Larry's like his
married,
voice.
Larry.
Yeah,
I'm
Larry.
married, Larry.
I think
Larry's
married too, but he's good people. He's giving you a shout out because all we see is your face on a picture. Because you got the voice on the phone. You're on the phone. Larry's good people. He's actually a 49ers fan. So I mean, just people with these
That's
fans.
right. I appreciate it, Larry. Thank you.
Now, I love how you're going to give back to the players and give back to people that gave to you through high school. Well, not high school, because high school, coach was an asshole. Anyway, but college, giving back, and you have your teammates. They're all supporting you and stuff like that. Take it to the point where you know that you're an NBA prospect. You were undrafted, right? But you went out to play in the summer league. Tell us that steps how you got into the NBA.
Oh man, my agent Sean Hawley. I did the pre-draft camps. I was in Seattle. I was in Portland. I worked out for Boston and Miami as well. And the Summer Pro League was held in Long Beach, back then. And he managed to get me on board with the LA Lakers. So that's where you keep coming up with the Lakers.
Oh, there it is. Oh, you played summer camp with the Lakers. Okay, at least it makes me feel not that dumb.
Well, I wanted to make you feel bad a little bit.
Yo, let's go back to college. Let's go back to college real quick. And I forgot to mention shot blocking record in college too, right? What'd you average? How many shot blocks a game?
My freshman year, I think it was 5.3.
That's more than some people get assists, man. You understand what I?
That's crazy.
Right. And then my sophomore year, 6.4, almost 6.5.
What was the most?
The game, so.
Now this is D1. This is D1, right? You're playing
D1.
Oh, damn.
Oh yeah. And even though I went to a small Division I school, we had to play against Penn State. We had to play against UConn. Minnesota, who was a big time program at the time. And I always got 7, 8, 9 blocks against those big programs.
What's the most blocks you had in the game? What's the most blocks you had in one game?
12.
Jeez,
12 in college. Yeah.
You're like me, matching up. I had this kid, Matt. He was like 6'4", and I'm like 5'8", sloppy, roly, meatball-looking kid. I used to try to pump fake and like double pump fake, and then no matter where he was, he blocked my shot. You're that guy. You're my Matt Jessup, man. Damn. That's got to feel
that record's
good.
still standing today, amazingly.
Oh, congrats. Cool, man. Because I know one year, one of the local guys from Rockaway, he went to St. Bonaventure. Shandu McNeil. I don't know if you remember him from back in the 90s. He was a point guard, played at Malloy. Anyway, whatever. There's more high school out here. He led the nation in steals one year. So at least I was like, wow, this kid led, in steals. That's pretty cool for St. Bonaventure. They never really won, but I saw him go up against Adrian Griffin for Seton Hall, and he's like Shandu was like 5'6", and Griffin was like 6'6". What a matchup! He was just posting them up all day in the Meadowlands, and I'm like, I felt so bad. My little man got tore down, but it was what it was, And he's giving back now too. So he does the AA program out in Long Island. I think it's a Lightning, I believe, something like that. Long Island Lightning. I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good old days, man. So NBA, you go to camp, the summer camp, for the Lakers. How do you wind up on the Clippers?
The Lakers, their roster was already set. I grew up a Lakers fan. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is my all-time favorite player.
You could play him in another airplane movie. You know that, right? I hate to cut on you, but
and
you
I
could be.
Went out for a role as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in a movie, but or in a series actually, but I didn't get it. But just no problem. They probably pick somebody that was 6'5" instead. The Lakers roster, their regular season roster was already set. So if they had invited me to camp after that, I would have just been a crash test dummy for Shaq and the guys, without a roster spot. And the Clippers, Elgin Baylor and the head coach at the time, Bill Fitch, Kobe and I were walking off the court to the locker room after kicking someone's ass. And the coach, Bill Fitch, he stopped me. He said, hey, son, at the end of this season, if you're not signed with anybody, you're going to be in an L.A. Clippers uniform. I said, oh, thanks, coach. And I turned to walk away, and me and Kobe are bumping each other in the arm like, yeah, right, fool, this is the Lakers. I'm signing with the Lakers. And that's before I realized that the roster was already full. But, they stuck to their word. Denver came with a 2-year offer. Seattle came with a 2-year offer. Philly came with a 2-year offer or 1-year offer. But the Clippers, they came with, some financial stability. $8.4 million for 5 years.
Sign me up. Sign me up. Where do I sign?
Did Dolan offer you future season tickets if you came? And I could see Dolan. Man. I could see Dolan doing that. Dolan saying, "You know what? I'll give you season tickets if you come play for us for the rest of your life."
But the Clippers were never on my radar because I wasn't a Clippers fan. I didn't watch any of their games. I had only gone to one game as a fan, and that was on my 18th birthday. My great uncle took me, and they were playing against the Houston Rockets. And after the game, I go down to the courtside like any other basketball fan, and I asked Dominique Wilkins for his autograph. I say, hey, Neek, it's my birthday, my 18th birthday. Can I get an autograph? And he just looks at me, gives me this, this look like, who the hell are you? Nods his head no, and just walks off.
Wow, you should have called him. You should have called him Gerald. You said, "Yeah, Gerald, can I have your autograph?" No, I'm just saying.
And so Hakeem Olajuwon was standing right behind him and looked at him and looked at me and shook his head in disbelief, like, "Wow." And I said, "That's all right." I said, "That's all right. Fuck you. You're gonna want. I want to be in the NBA one day soon, and you're gonna want my autograph, bitch." And so fast forward. 3 years later, I'm a rookie with the L.A. Clippers, and we're playing against the Houston Rockets. And Hakeem Olajuwon, he comes up to me on the court. And he says, hey, I remember you. You're that kid. On your birthday, you asked Dominique for the autograph. And I said, yeah. He said, yeah, you told him, F you, you're going to be in the NBA one day soon. And you made it. Congratulations, kid.
Wow.
That's redemption, man.
To be recognized by a player of his, because we're Knicks fans. I mean, come on, about talent. We saw him single-handedly beat the Knicks in '94. I mean, I think if it wasn't for the OJ car chase, maybe we would have been. I don't even know what it was that year. It was the Knicks and the Rangers in the finals.
Yeah, the Rangers gave us some solids.
And then Starks went like 1 for 100 from the field in Game 6. We should have had a championship, man. But what was it like to bang elbows? Now you're in the NBA. You're banging elbows with these guys.
I don't mean to cut you off. It's funny because now I hear a story like that about Dominique. Dominique was my favorite player. Like I love Dominique, man. And I wasn't a Hawks fan. I was a Knicks fan. You know, I didn't like the Celtics, but you know, I respected their tradition. But Dominique was the guy for me. And you know, of course, you go back to the Jordan Dominique dunk contest, where, you know, in my opinion, I think Neek got robbed in that one.
We were watching that in like 180 in like the
lunchroom.
Yeah, you remember that? Yeah, wow, that's
in
funny.
the lunchroom.
I watched the same thing, man.
And I remember being heartbroken seeing that. And I was like, how did they pass him up on that double-handed windmill? You know, so I always loved Dominique, but that just killed it for me. That's horrible.
Yeah, but you know what?
You gotta act like that.
To get on the court and then have Olajuwon. I mean, that kind of guy come over and go, I remember you, kid. I mean, how could you not remember you? Honestly, I mean,
right. He, you know, I thought that was awesome.
That
man.
was stupid
and,
awesome.
He was one. He's one of the greatest big men to ever lace him up.
Agreed.
You know, you talk about having the full package, the total package. This guy was a big man, and he was a guard in a big man's body.
That's absolutely right.
Keith, the crazy thing is, Keith, he gets overlooked. Yeah. When the question comes up, you know, name the top 5 or top 10, whatever, he gets overlooked. He does. I mean, listen, if you know basketball, you're mentioning Hakeem Olajuwon
because you never knew which way he was gonna go. He can go either way. Like there was, I mean,
he was nasty, man. He was so consistent. Like.
Yeah, he was.
So consistent.
He really was.
Holy cow.
And was he?
You know, he caught me with the dream shake also. I
shake you up.
I tried to prepare, but I was so eager to block his shot. You know, and he pump faked and spun back around the other way while I flew by.
That's so funny. But, now you come to the NBA now, right? You're playing in the NBA. You had to come off the bench, right? Was the crowd into you as a player? Were you a crowd favorite?
Absolutely, because I was an energy guy. I went out there and gave my best effort, especially defensively. It was just I thought that they don't want me to score, so let me go out here and just play and do my best to shut down my guy and to help my teammates as well when they were getting beat, and that's what I focused on, and so. They appreciated that. They appreciated the effort. And I always got love for that wherever I went. You know, and it didn't hurt that I was also the all-time leading shot blocker, in the NCAA. So, I just let that play to my advantage.
I got to give it to you. You had a pretty nice skyhook. I mean,
courtesy of my all-time favorite.
Yeah, I mean, there's the one most viewed clip with you is the one over MJ. I mean that's smooth, man. You have video footage of you skyhooking over MJ. Like, how cool is that in general? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'd have a poster, man. I would definitely post that thing up, man. That'd definitely be the poster.
Nice. I got another shot of me doing the same over Shaq.
Oh, that's even better. Wow. I'd be gigging on him constantly with that one if I knew him. You know, that's great.
They'll come off the bench and they start cheering your name, and you get picked up. And everybody knows them kind of players. We had one in New York with Jeremy Lin not too long ago, where they would cheer for his name. He takes off the shirt and he takes. What's that noise? He takes off the shirt and he's running to the bench and he's getting checked in. That was you, I guess, in the beginning, right?
Right.
Oh,
exactly.
What a feeling that must have been.
So now you spend. I don't think that's us. I think that's something over there on that end. So now you spend your years in the NBA. I've heard a lot of professional ball players talk about the NBA and then playing over in China, and the difference and the similarities and the pros and the cons. What did you like better? I mean, listen. Everybody's dream is to play for the NBA. Money aside, family wise, brotherhood, China, right? Like, I mean, you have more genuine people who are starving, really, really just genuine people like that they didn't forget where they came from.
Right.
And you had a bunch of championships over there also, right?
I'm sorry, what was that?
You had a bunch of championships in China.
No, I didn't have any championships in China, as a matter of fact,
really?
Unfortunately.
Why did I...
You're thinking of Stephon Marbury. I mean, Starbury went over there and made himself into something. He was actually selling them sneakers over there, the $20 sneakers.
Right.
Wow.
Right. And that's exactly what it was. He went over there and he was the man. I didn't have that same success internationally, unfortunately. You know, some of my friends have. But I'm fortunate enough to also have won 4 gold medals in my life. So,
wow.
You know, no major championships, but I've got 4 gold medals.
Did you ever play in? Did you ever play in the D League? The one that they had on like HBO.
I played for Tulsa. I played for the Tulsa 66ers in 2000 during the 2007-2008 season.
Yeah, because we had a guy that went to school with us, Neil Edward, who played in there. He was tall. He was like 6'9" in high school, and I saw he was on the HBO special when they did that whole HBO special on the D League. It was pretty cool to see that. You know, it's cool to see somebody that you grew up with or someone you went to high school with or something. That's cool shit. Man.
Now you had your problems with the NBA. You're a recovered alcoholic, and we talked about, you know, on the show. I personally come from an alcoholic father. The NBA, your lights, you're shining. You got caught up in alcoholism, and I always ask somebody like, where does that come from? And you told me that you come from a long line of families that's in alcohol.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I was an alcoholic before I got to the NBA. You know, I made it to the NBA as an alcoholic. You know, during the Summer Pro League with the Lakers, I went out with some high school friends one night, and I had too much to drink. I had a game the next morning, but I had too much to drink. And word got back to Jerry West and Mitch Kupchak. So after shoot-around, I'm sitting there with a mouthful of bubble gum, you know, trying to recover from this massive hangover I've got. And they corner me, and they, you know, Keith, do you have a problem with drinking? I said, no, not at all. I just went out with some friends last night, had a good time. I said, oh, okay, well, all right. If there's anything we could do, you know, let us know. And I thanked them, you know, and I assured them that everything was all right. But they knew. And, you know, the only person I was fooling was myself, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, I'm grateful that they did extend that hand to help, even though I wasn't ready to accept the help at the time, or even to acknowledge the fact that I needed help.
Do you feel that do you feel that they gave you the outlet that you needed to get the help? Like, I mean, all in all, like, if you would have took that help and ran with it, you think you might have went a different path after that?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. But, you know, I just wasn't ready mentally.
That's it. You know? That's the key.
Listeners, man. People with kids.
To me, I was just having fun. You know, I was just a young guy having fun.
And that's how it starts.
I didn't see any harm in what I was doing.
That's right. All our viewers out there, and you know, if you have kids, and you know, let them hear this. You know, this is powerful stuff, man.
I'll be honest with you, Brian. I tell my kid the same thing. I tell my son, he's 21 years old now. He likes to go out, have a couple of drinks. He's 21. But what can I do, right? He's 21 years old. He does live in my house, and absolutely. But he has the opportunity that flows in our blood. Generational, right. It flows in our blood, and it could easily be, you know, just turn like a switch. You're out, you know, it's something you do. And now you said you made it to the NBA like that. If I'm in the NBA, it's not a problem, right? I don't have a problem. I made it to the NBA.
Right.
And I heard you one time on another show, you talked about you weren't ready for the change. And it doesn't matter what anybody else does.
That's right.
If you're not ready to change, and you know, and people can change. It is a disease. People don't realize that. I guess you know, and people are very shy. You're an NBA player. I'm sure you're saying to yourself, I can't let people know, you know, like that. That's
a lot of times people realize it, but don't want to put it out there. They feel it's a weakness or whatever it may be. You know, I mean, I like more of a personal story with me, like with sanitation. I could have started sanitation when I was 22, you know, but I passed it up because I knew if I take this job, I'm gonna lose it. There's no way I'm making it through probation. There's no way I'm making it through a full career without getting fired for, you know, whatever I was doing at that point. Right. You know? Right. So, I mean, listen, it's part of it, you know?
How many years, and I know you're sober for many, many years now. How long did it take you to sober up?
For my first introduction to a 12-step program, it took, what was that, 9 years? Yeah, 9 years.
Wow. At least you got it done.
Such a hard thing.
My first introduction was during the lockout of 1998-99. You know, I had gotten 2 DUIs in 2 months, and Elgin Baylor sent me to a program in Atlanta for 30 days. You know, and I wasn't ready even then, and in denial and just really angry about the whole situation.
Now, was that during your time? That was during your time with the Clippers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
So,
my second year.
Now is that considered? Now you had 2 DWIs. I don't know if that gets included into the 3-strike rule that California has and stuff like that. But
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
No,
Okay, I wasn't.
Yeah,
sure.
but it gets into
felony.
it gets into the NBA circles,
yeah.
saying that this guy is probably non-touchable,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right, right. And then also, you know, again, I wasn't playing for a successful franchise. I wasn't playing for a franchise that really cared about its players at the time. So, you know, there's a lot of frustration with that. And I didn't have a lot of veteran leadership around me. My veterans are 25, 26 years old. You know,
yeah, all your veterans are on other teams.
I was trying to think. Yeah, I was trying to think who they were.
As competition. You looked at each other as competition because they're in their prime. You're the new guy. You're the fresh face. But they're in their prime, and they're trying to get their numbers so they can get a nice size contract for the next few years for some more security. So it wasn't like I had guys really trying to pull me to the side and, you know, tell me how to address a certain situation the best way possible. It was more or less, I don't know what to tell you, young fella.
You're asked out. You're pretty much asked out because you get guys that want to do that. Now you get the right team, and I totally understand what you're saying. Like you see, like a relationship like Duncan and Robinson had. He gets into the league. I know that he had that figure where he moved in when, like I see that a lot now, where the guys are bringing rookies and stuff into their house to live with them. You know what I mean, and kind of mentor them. And you didn't have that, and I could totally see.
Right.
And then when you're down and out on your luck, what do you do? What do you turn to? Like you turn to that.
Craig Smith was a young kid out of LA that played at BC. He was an All-American at Boston College, and he was drafted by the Minnesota Timberwolves. His vet was Kevin Garnett, and you know, KG made sure he was all right. KG stayed on his ass, showed him how to be a professional, and you know, really guided him. You know, gave him that big brother mentorship that he needed as a young man, you know, in the NBA. I didn't have that. You know, a lot of us didn't have that. But for the teams that did have great veteran leadership, those young players are so fortunate. And they really had the heads up on the rest of us who didn't have that kind of leadership. Because we're, like you said, we're pretty much left to fend for ourselves, you know, sink or swim.
Survival of the fittest, man. Survival of the fittest, man. Doggy dog world.
And I'm a fighter, and so I would fight back verbally with my coaches, you know, and I'd let them know how I was really feeling about certain situations, and you know how I felt like I wasn't being treated fairly, and so that I allowed myself to sink into a deeper hole by continuing to drink alcoholically, not only at home or out at the club, but during the games on the bench. You know, I'd stop at the liquor store over on Crenshaw and grab me a bunch of, you know, couple fifths of this and that while drinking a 40-ounce on the way to the arena. And, you know, I done put away 2 40-ounces by the time I got to the arena.
Wow.
And I'm cracking open a fifth. And, you know, I drink that fifth during the game. Yeah, the water bottle said Gatorade, but I never had Gatorade in my water bottle.
Wow.
It was always Hennessy, gin, Cavassier, Christian Brothers, Southern Comfort. Wow. You know, that's what was in my water bottle.
You know that you would be you're big time when you're starting to drink the hardcore liquor in the bottle, man. You know, not just the beer and stuff like that, man. NBA, around the NBA, were people drinking in the NBA that kind of could manage the drinking that didn't get caught? Or, you know what I mean? Like, was it a problem?
You know, I don't know because I didn't notice anybody else drinking like me. Bill Walton would come into the arena, and you know I love Bill. Bill's an animated guy, great guy. He'd come in, he had an 18-pack in his duffel bag while he was getting dressed up and putting on his makeup for the announcing. You know, he'd be pounding them, and I'd come on over there with him and drink my shit too. You know, before the game, and we just sit there chopping it up, laughing about life and, you know, the game that we love, and then, you know, part ways and go out and, you know, do our thing, whether I'm sitting on the bench, getting 2 or 3 minutes, or, you know, or not playing at all, you know, and that's just what it was. Guys weren't getting in trouble for drinking like I was.
What was the
You know,
bottom?
plus
What was
I'm
the bottom end? When did you know that it was the bottom? You hit the bottom.
John Lucas flew me out to Houston, Texas, to train me and to get me back where I needed to be, to attempt to get me back to where I needed to be, which was the NBA. And so I'm doing workouts twice a day, 6 days a week with him, myself and other NBA guys, college guys, and Robert Turner, who played in the WNBA at the time for the Comets. And I didn't know, but he was putting me in a position to get some help for my drinking. And I had decided, I made a conscious decision 6 months before that on my birthday that I wasn't going to drink anymore because I had an aha moment where I had to look back and take a sincere look at myself and why my life had gone from sugar to shit in such a short period of time. And the main thing that popped up was, you know, when I was getting in trouble, it was alcohol related. I had been drinking. So I made a decision not to drink anymore. But I was going to keep smoking weed because they were starting to legalize it, and I had a connection for the card to make sure that I was okay, blah, 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 you know. And one day in between workouts at lunch, I got very, very ill. And, you know, projectile vomiting, hot and cold sweats, temporary blindness, hyperventilation, and the shakes. And he ended up taking me to a recovery center, you know, and because he thought I had been drinking, you know. And turns out I had acute pancreatitis. What happened was it was so bad that I had to be rushed to the hospital. And I don't remember the ambulance ride or anything. All I know is I came to on life support in a hospital. And when I woke up, I'm plugged into these machines. I got all this stuff, you know, down my throat and my arms, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And I sit up and I'm just ripping everything out of my body, and the machines go off like a person is just, you know, coded, and they rush in with the team, thinking that I had expired.
Wow, like flatline and shit. Wow.
And, yeah. And so the doctor comes in, and I ask him, you know, what happened? How did I get here? He said, well, kid, you almost died in the emergency room, you know, and we had to knock you out and put you on life support. And so, he asked me, he said, how much drinking do you do? I said, well, I haven't had a drink in 6 months. He said, well, we can't tell by the test that we ran on you. You know, your enzyme levels are this high and blah, blah, blah. And he's just running everything down to me. And, you know, this is 6 months without a drink. But the damage had been done for all the hardcore years of drinking that I had done. And greasy foods is what triggered the pancreatitis. I didn't even know. I had gone through that before at home, but I would soldier it out for a week straight where I couldn't eat, same symptoms, same everything for a week straight, not knowing that I could have died each and every time that happened.
Jeez, man.
You know, so the last time I experienced that, somebody had sense enough to call 911, get me to a hospital just in time, which is why I'm here today.
Amazing.
You know, I got out of the hospital after a week, went back to that recovery home, just a changed person, and really convinced right then and there that, you know, the life of drinking wasn't for me. The life of putting anything else in my system, it just wasn't for me anymore. Not even a weed. You know, I was too afraid of the hardcore stuff because of things I had seen with my own family.
Absolutely.
You know?
Trust me. It's like we grew up in the same boat, man. It's like so funny.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about, man. Oh, it takes you almost to die to say to yourself, yeah, I'm that messed up, man. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, God's love and grace and mercy, man. I've been sober for almost 14 years.
Oh, God bless you, man. God bless you.
September 17th will be 14 years of sobriety for me.
Ah, that's awesome.
And, my life since that time or throughout this time has been about a life of service and giving back and helping other people, with their alcoholism and addiction problems. Just freely giving away the gift that was given to me, to whoever will be willing to accept it in their lives, And
just being a changer, man.
What amazed me is that people recognized it because I would speak openly about my own recovery from alcoholism, and just the fact that I am who I am as Keith Kloss, the former NBA player, I use that platform to talk about my recovery in the hopes that I would be able to help somebody else. And it didn't matter if they were close to me, if they knew me personally or not. And so people will reach out to me on social media and share their experiences and their struggles and ask me to help them, And I got people contacting me from all these different, countries, and it was just a really amazing thing, and so
it's funny. It's funny, Keith,
it's
and I hate
about giving back.
And I hate to step on you, but it's funny how when you're down, and people love to see people down and out, man. And now that you're doing good, you get reaching out to people that need the help, and that's something that it's priceless, man. Yeah, you're giving back to something because I see it, and it's so hard for somebody to first admit it. Once you admit it to yourself, and you can go in public and tell people, listen, I was an alcoholic. I drank Gatorade bottles filled with that. You know what? That's the first step that takes you to the next, man. When I had my father tell me, he's like,
right.
I can't, my situation. And then he goes, look at my situation. And I look back and I'm like, he's 18 years old. He's got 2 kids. He's working a job, probably not making enough money. His father was out. So I can't blame sometimes, man. You gotta look at the person, because people will go to you. How could he drink? He's an NBA player. How could he do that?
Right.
Like, trust me, you didn't want it.
Making all this money, the thing was, I didn't let the money make me.
How do you throw that all away?
I didn't care about the money like that. And I spent a lot of my money. I spent the majority of my money taking care of everybody else.
I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. I picture myself like, I mean, I can never make it to a major league team and nothing like that, but I can picture like winning a lottery ticket, right? The $1 million lottery, right? And then all of a sudden, how many phone calls you must have got when you signed that contract? People like, yo, I'm your second cousin over from the third cousin, and
absolutely.
You're trying to help out. Now you have a foundation. I wanted to mention the foundation, Gloss Family Cares Foundation. Can you talk about that before we let you go?
Yeah, Gloss Family Cares Foundation. We're really focusing on giving back to the youth, and empowering them through sports and academics. And I'm going to be actually dibbling and dabbling in a lot of different areas that are concerned with the youth. Because you have kids who are dealing with psychological issues. You have youth who are dealing with addiction issues. You have youth who, there's just so many different areas that we could touch when it comes to the things that our kids are dealing with. And I just want to make sure that I'm there to help guide them through anything that they're going through, that my foundation is able to guide them through anything. Homelessness as well. California has some of the highest percentages of homeless youth. San Bernardino County in California several years ago had over 25,000 homeless youth.
Damn, wow.
San Bernardino County is bigger than several states.
Wow.
So just imagine a few New England states having a total of 25,000, or more homeless youth. You know what I mean?
That should not be even a word. That's just, in America. That America, the richest country in the world, whatever. That should never be a word that you should put together. Homeless youth, or like homeless veterans, like homelessness should not even be. I don't get it, man.
Right. And so I want to make sure that we take care of and groom this next generation and these next coming generations of leaders that we have, giving them opportunities to be successful in life any way possible. My wife's a choreographer, and a massage therapist, I know for a fact that she'll get involved in teaching massage therapy to kids and teaching dance and grooming, you know, future choreographers as well. So
it's a family thing, man.
Yeah, it is. It really is, man.
That's awesome.
You know, you peel back our skin, we're all the same. So each and every one of us are family. You know, no matter what our last name is, no matter what our ethnicity is, our background.
And we all go through the same problems, man. It's the same anywhere you look, man. Like, people just don't admit it. Like, it's everywhere, man. I mean, everybody, like what's the old saying, you shake your family tree and alcohol is going to fall out. You shake your family tree, something's going to fall out that it's bound to happen, man. It's bound to happen. So the foundation, how would people get in touch with your foundation? How do we reach out or donate to your foundation?
Well, I haven't set up a Facebook page for the foundation yet. I'm going to do that. I'm also going to set up a website for the foundation. And once I do, I'll make sure that I get you guys that information as well so that you can, you know, assist in getting the word out there.
Oh, absolutely.
If you do any kind of
East Coast roots.
If you do
East Coast roots, so, you know, I'm not opposed to coming out to the East Coast to do something, whether it's a food drive, whether it's to do a celebrity basketball game or a clothes drive. Or, you know, we don't have book drives anymore.
How about a buck the system? A buck the system charity game that would donate the money to the Claus Family Foundation.
That would be
that'd be awesome.
We could team up. We have
awesome. I got a coach, but because I can't, I don't think I can run down the court anymore like that, man.
Well, maybe we could team up with you know, another organization.
We got a local. Like, we got connections to a local gym. You know what it is right now with the COVID. Everything's so crazy, man. Oh, it's so bad.
And I talked to my buddies in the league. You know,
I'll tell you, you came down to
get them involved as well.
You come down here in New York, Queens, we would make something happen. Trust me.
And listen, when you guys,
I'll get my buddies from the sports and entertainment world to come together for this.
And when you guys put any kind of like 30-second, you know, audio or video clip of the foundation or whatever you have, somewhere down the line, just get it over to us. We'll play it on the show.
Every show.
And we'll put it up there constantly for you, man. So just keep in touch with us with that, definitely.
Before I let you go, I just want to ask you, how the heck did you make it to Texas? And what was it like? You go to Texas and you bring the snow? What's going on in this world, man?
Listen. The state was not prepared for this severity of weather. You know, we went for a few days without power. But thank God we had some chopped up wood on the side of the house, you know, from the previous owner, and we just tossed that on into the fireplace while we were without power. But by God's grace, you know, we made it through. And the snow is all gone and melted away. We're enjoying warm, sunny days. And just, hey, life is, you know, as usual, life is still in session. You know, we just have to adjust and make the best of it.
Now, the last question I got to ask you, growing up, because I just watched it recently on Netflix, I can't say Notorious B.I.G. because not Biggie Smalls, but did you see the documentary they put out on Netflix? And if so, if back then, who would you pick, Biggie or Tupac? That's a stupid question for an LA kid.
Tupac. But you know what? You can't, listen. That's like asking who's the greatest basketball player of all time. We all have our favorite, you know. Like, I'm going to always say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar above Michael Jordan, you know. But they were both some lyrical masters, some lyrical giants in the hip-hop game.
Oh.
And it's unfortunate that we lost them so early the way that we did, because their impact is still felt, you know, throughout hip-hop, you know. And losing them made way for guys like Jay-Z. You know, losing them made way for guys like Master P, for Snoop Dogg and so many others to really propel themselves to the next level. You know what I mean? Where now they've become these business juggernauts, you know, and Puff Daddy, and you know what I mean? If it wasn't for those two guys right there,
Nah, you're totally right. I mean, you cut him off, we lose him. But he's right, man.
No, I'm here.
For me, it was all day growing up in Queens. I mean, I wouldn't grow up in Brooklyn on Fulton Street and nothing like that. But Biggie, my coach that coaches with me, Coach Joe, diehard Knicks fan. He said it's Biggie. Of course, it's Biggie. You grew up in Queens, man. You grew up in Jamaica, Queens. What do you expect it to be, man? Come on. I mean, great documentary. People check it out on Netflix. You know, speaking with his mom and stuff like that.
I think that's the one that was done by Puffy and his mom.
Yeah, it's 24. Yeah. I couldn't believe 20. And then when you rewatching that, and you're like, why is this guy going to California, man? What is like?
Right.
But he wanted to spread the love. Like you wanted the impact and. The love that he got. And I remember, I'll never forget that day when the funeral and they brought him back to Brooklyn and everybody was like, it was like a party. Like, it was insane. Yeah. And you miss out on that, man. Nothing like that. I got my 11-year-old son, 12 now. I got him doing some Biggie songs, but they got a lot of curse words and stuff like that. But he loves it. He absolutely loves it. His favorite song is Warning. He loves it. Loves it.
Right.
You know, it makes you think, too, like, you know, like when you hear something like that, like Biggie, you know, Biggie wanted to change things on a different level. You know what I mean? Tupac was going through the same thing. You know, we had Greg Nice on we had Greg Nice on the show a couple months back, and he was basically living with Tupac the month he was killed. You know, and he was working with them, and you know they were old friends. They got back together, they linked up, and they were ready to do something big together. And
because Tupac was looking to do something really big on his end. Bringing like some East Coast back on and ending that West Coast.
He wanted to end it, yeah.
Well, they got carried away with it. I mean, I thought it was all like
it was
this.
The people around them.
Oh,
you know.
But I thought it was. Yeah, it was the radio stations and stuff like that, man. But tragically, why did the good die young, man? Why is that, man? But
well, we're still here, so that says something about us, right?
Some of us have to die in order for others to live.
And like you said in the beginning, going off that court. When you heard about the helicopter going down, that must have been all them lives lost. And you remember you going back to your rookie year, going off with the Lakers in summer camp. That must have hit you pretty hard.
I cried like a baby. My wife and I were at the hospital for a doctor's appointment. She was pregnant. And, you know, that I cried like a baby. One of my former teammates called me to ask me if I heard anything about it. Because at that point, it was just rumor. And, you know, while we're on the phone, both of our phones, our notifications start going crazy. And I had to excuse myself to talk to him and leave my wife in the doctor's office. And, you know, by the time I get back, you know, everything's been confirmed and I'm just bawling my eyes out like a baby, you know, and it was very tragic. And unfortunately for us, my wife and I, we also lost our son, in April of last year, April 19th, he was stillborn, our baby boy Gideon, and you know, it was 2020 was a hell of a year. You know, 2020 was a hell of a year, but you know, we have high hopes and expectations of a great 2021.
That's it. Look forward, man. Look forward.
A lot of great things are going to happen in our lives. You know, where you know, God's kept His hand on us and has continued to guide us through everything that, you know, all these different hardships that we've had to endure. I've lost several family members to the virus. You know, a couple siblings and cousins also, you know, braved their way through the virus as well. And, you know, fortunately, by God's grace, a lot of other friends have also, you know, fought their way through the virus and made it out to the other side, you know. But there's still people out here suffering from the after effects of the virus, respiration problems, heart problems. You know, this virus has taken a serious toll, made a serious impact in people's lives today. And so even though people are, you know, recovering from it or seem to have recovered from it in a very good way, there's still some underlying things that they're having to deal with medically as a direct result of catching, you know, COVID-19.
Just go away already, you know what I mean? It's like, I want to wake up and let's see, because we you know how it is in Queens and New York City, how we got This is ground zero for COVID during last year. So, I mean, we lost numerous amount of people, and now it's the people who are left. It's what we do with our time. Because we get too complaints or we get too regular with our lifestyles. We have to do something. We're not here for a long time, so let's make sure we do something with it. And the foundation, I would definitely, you get anything, like Brian said, any news you get, you send it to us. We will definitely put it out there for you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. My humble thanks to you guys.
All right. Well, I'll let you go.
Give a shout out before we go. Give a shout out to my wife, Ronique Claus, back in California, finishing up her school stuff.
Yes.
You know, before she joins me here in Texas.
Awesome.
And just looking forward to that reunion with my baby.
Ah, that's nice when you get off the plane. I love them playing. When you meet somebody on a plane you haven't seen in a while, and your heart skips 3-4 beats, and man, you can't take that away. That's great stuff, man.
Yeah.
There he is, man. You're always welcome back anytime. I'd love to have you back and recap on what you're doing down there, man, and stuff like that. But thanks you so much.
My humble thanks.
You're welcome, man. And I wanted to get into Dr. Kane, but Kane is in the house. But next time we'll do that, man. You know what I mean? Because I heard you talking about Dr. Kane.
Oh, yeah.
Next time we'll do that. I like Big Daddy Kane down there, but I appreciate it, man. I like my.
All right, now.
All right, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Hey,
Thank you so
guys
much.
have a blessed one, and thank you.
Thank you, Keith. It was a pleasure, man.
Former
Pleasure was all mine.
L.A. Clippers center. There he is.
All right.
Keith the
Y'all
Close.
be blessed.
There you go, the boss. Thank you very much, kid.
All right, now.
All right. Everybody out there, we will be back soon. We got a couple of shows. We got a new show Thursday. Got a show Tuesday. We'll be back trying to get my boys hooked up on the Wicked Tuna. Wicked Tuna is going to be coming on soon. I got a lot of guys I'm reaching out to. TJ, Dave, and all them guys from Wicked Tuna. I know that episode 2, I actually DVR'd it, and I didn't see it. So, I see people posting stuff. And I was talking about how people post stuff on Wicked Tuna, and I seen the leaderboard, so I know who catches fish. But anyway, I'm going to check it out anyway. Thank you so much for Keith the Boss Gloss for coming on. We appreciate that. Everybody else out there.
Thursday, next show, 7 p.m.
It's 7 to 8 7 o'clock to about 9 o'clock. Anywhere in between that, we'll be on.
We have a portrait artist from the UK, Chloe. She's very talented. So that should be a good show.
She draws pictures.
She's so
dragons.
excited. She's so excited.
She draws dragons. I thought it looks like a real. Like I saw a picture of the dragon. I'm like, wow, that looks real. We'll have her on, and then Nick Johnson, and we got who else on there? We got some other guys on the calendar. People out there, if you see, we have on the bottom of the screen there is Venmo. If you like to help out, general support. Supporting this show helps us out to. Just help us bring in the show and continue the show. We have the Venmo at the bottom if you help out. I don't know. Up to you guys. Support the show. Thank you for everybody out there. There's so many people out there I like to thank. Thank you, Joe, Graham, Larry, Dennis from St. Louis. I appreciate that. He's always tuning in. And everybody else who takes the time to write anything on the board. Second of all, share if you can, please. It helps us out. Like. You don't have to Venmo. I appreciate if you just like the show and share it. I appreciate that. Try to bring you the best guests we can. Show 56 is in the books. Second of all, Curran's right now, if you go to on 116th, we have one of the sponsors, corned beef or anything. He said Kansas City steak, slamming, anything in that place, chopped meat, anything you need. Kansas City. I'm sorry. What did I say? St. Louis? Okay. Isn't it kind of like the same a little bit? I don't know. It's like, I guess you're right. Kansas City. I apologize. Dennis is from Kansas City. They have great Kansas City steak at Curran's and everything else. Wits End. I see this dude slicing up some swordfish. He's got the tuna, bluefin. He's got it all down there.
Always crushing it.
Yeah, Whitney. You can follow him on Instagram. You can just follow him. Absolutely beautiful. Yes, I'm sorry, Kansas City. I'm a Mets fan, so I should remember that you're from Kansas City with the Royals, that World Series. I think we should have done a lot better, but our pitching staff was terrible. Bungalow Bar is back open, 35%. Anybody else? If you like to sponsor, give us a call, man, or give us a message. Always looking for new sponsors. Thank you so much. I guess we'll end it like this. Let's see. Do I have a song here? Oh, there's no song. Look at this. All right, it's our boy Bobby J from Rockaway playing us out. Thanks again to Keith Gloss. Not of the Lakers. Good night, everybody.
Welcome to my hometown. Rockaway, that's my locale. Let me give y'all the lowdown. Every night, last call, there's a showdown. So you gotta stay smart. No, it's not for the faint heart. Raise your glass to the folks that have passed on. Rest in peace, J. Martin. In your memory, I'm rocking. Yeah, you're gone, but you'll never be forgotten. Save a spot for your boy up in heaven. Can't forget 9/11, flight 587. Let me tell you where I come from. Ain't no fakers where I come from. That's why you don't come from where I come from. I come from. Let me tell you where I come from. Ain't no strangers where I come from. That's why you not welcome where I come from.